This is the QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studio on Caraba Avenue, and I am Lena Iigwenyiba. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. We have a special report as immigration officials intercept and bring to shore a boat carrying 67 people attempting an irregular migration voyage. Following widespread reports of deaths at this year's Hajj, Gambians will be pleased to hear from the medical doctor with Tivaouane Travel and Tours that all the pilgrims successfully performed the Hajj and are looking forward to a safe return home. As they anticipate the first heavy rainfall, we visit Tallinding and hear from residents on why they continue to dread the rainy season. Action Aid International, the Gambia, in collaboration with partners, launched in Kudang a 3-year project on sustainable production and use of organic fertilizer. In international news, one of Malawi's most famous comedians has been sworn in as the country's vice president to succeed Solos Chilima, who died in a plane crash. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Now, officers of the Migration Management Unit of the Gambia Immigration Department and partners intercepted a boat carrying 67 people, including women and a child, about 7 nautical miles off the coast of Bakau on Saturday. Here's Julden Jai with a special extended report.
This boat behind me is one of the many boats intercepted by the Gambia Immigration Department and partners. According to the GID officials, this boat was carrying at least 67 people who are headed to the Canary Islands.
These would-be migrants were brought to shore and to safety at the naval base in Banjul through a joint operation supported by the COP Gambia project through the Spanish National Police counterparts. Here is Superintendent Mamanding Estiba, Public Relations Officer of the Gambia Immigration Department, speaking to journalists shortly after the arrival of the would-be migrants.
It all started on the 20th of this month, 2024, when we received an intelligence that a group of migrants are mobilizing off the coast of Bakau to make an irregular migration journey to the Canary Islands. We got this tip-off and immediately mobilize our people and also constitute patrols around that area. And these patrols continued throughout the period with the help of the Navy, Gambian Navy, Guardia Civil, and some other security agencies until this morning. Early hours of this morning, Saturday, we are able to successfully intercept this migrant boat some 7 nautical miles off the coast of Bakau. On board this, the migrant boat were 67 people, including women and children. And right now we are sorting them out and transporting them to our migration management center in Tangier, where further investigations will be conducted on these people.
Piero Diwa says GID considers the operation as a humanitarian one.
Because for the fact that we have seen on many occasions that these migrant boats will depart our shores, midway in the ocean before they get to the destinations, they capsize and leading to massive loss of life. The last one we can never forget is the one that happened on the coast of Nouakchott, where we lost over 50 young Gambians at a go. That was one of the worst days in the history of this country. So as law enforcement, as people that are entrusted with protecting the life and properties of our people, we cannot sit on our laurels and continue seeing these things happen. That is why we don't want to wait until our people get to Europe and other places, get them rounded up and deport them. But rather, we would want to make sure that they don't live clandestinely through this kind of dangerous migration routes that will end up being disastrous. We, like I always said, GID and partners, we are not against youth leaving this country in search of the so-called greener pasture. But we always want to make sure that this migration is done in a regular, secure, and safe manner.
The GID PRO says some cases of human smuggling have been prosecuted.
This is not the first time we have intercepted groups like this. And the good thing is that we have successfully prosecuted some people who have been the masterminds, who have been the people, the main, organizers of this kind of trips. We have successfully prosecuted, a few of them, and we think those kinds of prosecutions will serve as a deterrent to people who have this kind of thing, in mind. We want to continue doing this until, the general public understands our position.
Superintendent Diba advises people to avoid falling victim to people smugglers and the use of dangerous irregular migration routes. Diba also thanked all the stakeholders involved in the successful interception operations.
We know we don't have all the capabilities to be able to successfully conduct all these operations as a standalone institution. But with their collaboration and support, we are able to make a headway. And we hope we will continue to enjoy this kind of cooperation between our institution and all the stakeholders. We also want to use this opportunity to call on communities, parents most especially, to understand that these irregular migration journeys are not the ultimate solution. They are not the ultimate way to a better life. Most often than not, we have seen disasters happening, claiming the lives of our young people. So we want to continue soliciting the cooperation with families, communities, most especially the coastal communities.
Suleiman Kujabi, Commissioner of Operations at GID, and Commander Farah Job, Commanding Officer with the Naval Command and Fleet, both pledged to continue to devise approaches to tackling irregular migration. Over the past few years, the pursuit for socio-economic advancement, especially among the youths, is one reason that has driven many to undertake irregular migration. Over 35,000 Gambians arrived in Europe by irregular means between 2014 and 2018, with many others in Africa along the central Mediterranean route, opting for voluntary return, according to IOM. For QTV News, I am Julde Njai.
The medical doctor who traveled with 2-hour travel and tours pilgrims to Mecca for this year's Hajj said all the pilgrims successfully performed the Hajj and are looking forward to a safe return to the Gambia. Babukar Sise is with them in Mecca and filed this report.
These remarks were made following an assessment by the 2-hour travel medical doctor who traveled with the pilgrims for their healthcare needs. At her consultation room in the hotel, Dr. Sonko explains what most of her pilgrims complained about.
Issues related to respiratory tract infections, and these are mainly upper respiratory tract infections, such as running nose, dry cough, and stuffy nose. So this is as a result of overcrowding, because if you look at Saudi, people meet from all over the world. If one person gets a respiratory tract infection, it easily spreads. If you look at the tawaf we do, people come together, people converge, it's so crowded. People are sneezing all over, people are coughing, so it's easily transmitted since it's airborne. If you go to Mina, it's the same thing, it's overcrowded.
Dr. Sonko advises pilgrims on how to stay healthy in this hot weather amidst overcrowding.
We just have a pilgrim who is diabetic that was ill and taken to hospital, and then she was stabilized. So far she's fine. What I tell them is to try as much as possible to stay away from the sun, and also I tell them to drink as much water as they can. I advise them to wash their hands each time they touch surfaces, wash their hands each time they shake hands, because everyone has a respiratory tract infections, and also use face masks as much as possible.
Aja Mariama Adudetsi, the managing director of 2-hour Travel and Tours, is delighted that her pilgrims have no major health issues and will soon be reunited with their families.
Since Medina, we were having pilgrims that had slight sicknesses as usual, because the weather is very hot this year. The temperature is very high, mashallah. In fact, Saudi has predicted some heat waves. But alhamdulillah, we have advised our pilgrims to stay away from the sun. So they would normally go to the haram, inshallah, in the early morning for Fajr prayers, stay indoors for Dhuhr and Ashr, and get back to the haram at Maghrib and Isha, which is what the government of Saudi Arabia, the health ministry, advised all pilgrims, because the heat is very hot. Apart from that, when we went to Mina, we had some pilgrims who got some illnesses, and 1 or 2 fell down at Jamarat, but they were taken care of, alhamdulillah. That is normal in pilgrimage, because they go out into the heat, into the sun, hot weather, and come back to the air conditioners, so that will affect them. Inshallah, we are leaving Makkah 28 in the evening and arrive in Gambia 29th at at 11 a.m. in the morning, we'll be arriving in Gambia, inshallah.
Although some of the pilgrims had underlying health conditions, that didn't prevent them from performing all their Hajj rites within the 5 days of Hajj. Babukar Sise, QTV News, Makkah, Saudi Arabia.
Following the first rains in the Greater Banjul area, residents of Tallinding in the Kanifing municipality on Saturday called on government to help fix the main road linking the community and the rest of the municipality. This follows floods which over the years have affected movement within the area. QTV's Ansumana Esonyasi visited the community and he now reports.
Floods have become a regular occurrence in some places in the Gambia, especially when there is a heavy downpour and above the normal rainfall of the last 4 years. Unlike some of these residential areas, Tallinding is one of the most affected communities in the Kanifing municipality that annually faces severe floods. However, residents here attribute their current predicament to ongoing roadworks in the area, which they believe have exacerbated their living conditions. The recent rains left their houses flooded and foodstuffs destroyed and seriously affected their movement, as some of them can hardly leave their homes. Speaking to QTV, Jenaba Fadera, Jared Drame, Subward chairperson of Tallinding constituency, and Kadijane, all residents of Tallinding expressed their dismay over the condition of the road, which they say has greatly affected their lives. They called on government to help address the situation by intervening, as they fear that a heavy downpour could worsen their current situation.
The recent rain has really affected us. Our houses were left inundated with water, which destroyed our foodstuffs and destroyed some parts of our homes. The government started the road work 2 years ago, but not much has been happening since then.
Most of us here are from very poor backgrounds, and so you can imagine what impact these floods have had on our lives. Some people have had to leave their homes to go rent in other areas. Imagine leaving your home and going out to rent because the road in your neighborhood is so bad that you cannot leave your house whenever it rains. And to make matters worse, every time it rains, it floods because some of the waterways have been affected by the roadworks. I join my neighbors in pleading with government to help us.
The water has seriously affected us. Even our children cannot go to school when it rains, because there is no way you can leave the house. There is water everywhere, and the water is not healthy at all. We're asking for support from the government and anyone who can help to please help us.
Honorable Musa Baji, National Assembly member for Tallinding, sympathized with the community of Tallinding and joined residents in the area in asking for support, particularly from government. He also shared some of the challenges the community is currently facing as a result of the flooding.
The support one is to ensure that they have been compensated with their structures that have been demolished, so that they erect a new one and protect their environment. The second is the last rain have left a lot of people without food, because the lady was narrating the other time. All their foodstuffs have been perished to the flood. So that support, we urge NDMA to come around and assess the situation and see how they can help. We also urge the ministry to put pressure on the contractor. I don't know what is the reason behind the work not being started, but there must be some effort that the contract must start, the construction must start the soonest time possible.
Floods have caused significant damage in the community of Tallinding, affecting infrastructure, homes and people's livelihoods. And with the commencement of the raining season, residents here fear that without a quick response and intervention by government, their situation might get worse, forcing them to abandon their homes and risking being homeless. For now, some are relying on the benevolence of other members of the community who have not been affected by the floods for their daily sustenance. Answane Sonyase for QTV News.
From that story, we now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have local and international news stories. Do stay tuned.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fix internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled device. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyapus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Get a QCell SIM card for free. Yes, absolutely free. Walk into any of our customer care centers and get a SIM free of charge. With a QCell SIM card, you can get the fastest and the most reliable internet plus wide range of amazing services. So rush now to any of our care centers and get a free SIM now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell Sunyubus. We innovate, orders follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. Now, Action Aid International The Gambia, in collaboration with partners, launched in Kudang in the Central River region a 3-year project called Strengthening CSO Support for Sustainable Production and Use of Organic Fertilizer in the Gambia. Juldenja attended the event, and she now reports.
This project has been secured under the EU broad framework known as the Civil Society Green Advocacy for Organic Fertilizers. The preparation of this action is being driven by the results of a participatory review and reflection process conducted by Action Aid International The Gambia in September 2022 that highlighted the need to promote organic farming and agroecology practices among the targeted communities in CRR and NBR. Musa Mbai, governor of CRR, says the event marks a significant milestone towards promoting sustainable agriculture in the region.
To the women and youth and all the participants who will be directly involved in this project, I encourage you to seize this opportunity to learn, innovate, and lead.
Ndella Faikoli, Executive Director of Action Aid International The Gambia, says the project was designed to respond to critical needs of the communities.
As a rights-based organization, we know that, of course, people need to understand their rights as well as their responsibilities. But before people get to understand and make use of their rights and responsibilities, there should be food on the table. So as we work in that process, we also support activities to enhance productivity as well as improve livelihoods of people.
Aissatou Jallo, Project Manager at Action Aid International The Gambia, highlights some of the thematic areas that the project seeks to address.
This project aims to reach 25,000 women actively involved in horticulture activities, 8,000 youths eager to engage in sustainable agriculture practices, 200 persons of disabilities, ensuring inclusivity and accessibility, 100 extension workers equipped with the latest technology and knowledge and techniques, 150 journalists committed to disseminating the information on sustainable agriculture, 150 environmental activists, advocates, champions, bloggers, influencers, driving awareness and action.
Here is Evangelina Blanco, Program Officer at EU Delegation.
This grant contract has been awarded as part of a European Union-funded call for proposals on a competitive basis.
Musa Huma, Director General, Department of Agriculture, says the main objective of sustainable development is to have better production, nutrition and environment, and better life without leaving nobody behind.
Climate-smart agriculture uses good agricultural practices, funding known as GAPS, for the attainment of a homegrown, sustainable, healthy, inclusive, and resilient food systems.
The stakeholders proceeded to 50 by 50 garden in Nyamina Misira, one of the beneficiary communities to be supported by the project. The community has also allocated a 300 by 300 garden for the project implementation. Khadija Tujabi, one of the women leaders, expresses thanks and appreciation to Action Aid International The Gambia, who have been working in the community since 1985.
We grow all kinds of vegetables in this garden, but we grow only mint leaves because our fence was damaged. The livestock entered here and damaged our vegetables. But this garden helps us a lot, from feast money to school fees to settling our personal needs. The only challenge we have is lack of enough water, and I am glad that the project will address that and many other things.
What is special about this project is that it addresses the specific community garden needs based on consultation with those communities. For QTV News, I am Julde Njai.
Next to some international news. In a ceremony held in the capital, Lilongwe, 55-year-old comedian and politician Michael Usi, popularly known as Mangania, was sworn in as Malawi's new vice president. He replaces Solos Chilima, who tragically died in a plane crash earlier this month. Lena I reported on the rise of the comedian turned politician. Dr. Michael Usi, known for his role in the TV sitcom Tiku Feranji, Why Are We Dying?, received a standing ovation and expressed his mixed feelings of sadness and gratitude. He vowed to honor Chilima's memory and thanked President Lazarus Chakwera for his trust. His appointment has stirred mixed reactions among Malawians. While some question his seriousness due to his comedic background, others praise the president for upholding the alliance with Chilima's party by appointing its deputy leader. Usi's career spans more than 2 decades, during which he became a household name through radio and television. Beyond comedy, he has been a fervent advocate for Malawi's film industry and has worked extensively in community development, including a notable tenure at the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, ADRA. In one famous role, he played Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda, Malawi's first prime minister and the man widely regarded as the founding father of independent Malawi. Despite his acting fame, Usi's political journey began earnestly 7 years ago, with the formation of a political movement that later integrated into the UTM party, led by Dr. Chilima. The alliance saw them address large rallies together, ultimately leading to a victory in the 2020 elections as part of a broader opposition coalition. Usi served as Minister of Tourism, Culture and Wildlife before moving to Natural Resources and Climate Change. His rise to vice president, however, has highlighted divisions within the UTM party, a challenge he acknowledged during his swearing-in and as he pledged to unify and heal the party. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwanyiba. Before we end, here's a recap of the headlines. We have a special report as immigration officials intercept and bring to shore a boat carrying 67 people attempting an irregular migration voyage. Following widespread reports of deaths at this year's Hajj, Gambians will be pleased to hear from the medical doctor with Tiwawan Travel and Tours that all the pilgrims successfully performed the Hajj and are looking forward to a safe return home. As they anticipate the first heavy rainfall of 2024, we visited Tallinding and heard from residents on why they continue to dread the rainy season. Action Aid International, the Gambia, in collaboration with partners, launched in Kudang a 3-year project on sustainable production and use of organic fertilizer. In international news, one of Malawi's most famous comedians has been sworn in as the country's vice president to succeed Solos Chilima, who died in a plane crash. That's all we have for you in this bulletin. Join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the Week in Review with Ade Darmi and Momodou Mboj and Lamin Sonko providing sign language interpretation. Another bulletin.